Deathworlders Signal. Ambassador Neela floated in the emergency command chamber of the last Sagrathi outpost, her translucent body dimming with each passing moment. The chamber, once a marvel of crystalline architecture with its sweeping arches and delicate patterns, now bore the scars of repeated bombardment. Through the viewport, she could see the Vorax warships systematically destroying what remained of the Sagrathi colony. "The outer settlements have all fallen," reported First Attendant Rixel, his voice a melodic but strained vibration. "The main colony has less than one planetary rotation before the Vorax breach our final defenses." Neela's inner light pulsed with sorrow. The Sagrathi collective had never developed weapons of war. Their crystalline bodies and peaceful philosophy had made them diplomats and artists, not fighters. For millennia, they had been protected by Galactic Concord treaties. That was before the Vorax Imperium arrived from the uncharted regions. "The Concord has abandoned us," she said softly. "Their ruling stated that our worlds fall within legitimate Vorax expansion territory. They will not intervene." A distant explosion shook the chamber, sending prismatic dust floating through the air. "We have one final option," said Rixel, his normal translucence clouding with stress. He removed a small device from a hidden compartment. Unlike Sagrathi technology, it was angular, primitive, and built purely for function. "The forbidden beacon," Neela whispered, her inner light flickering with alarm. "You would summon them." "Earth is our only hope," Rixel replied. "The humans." "Earth is quarantined for a reason, Rixel. A Class 12 death world. The dominant species evolved in conditions that would shatter our bodies in seconds." Neela's crystalline form vibrated with fear. "High gravity, extreme temperature variations, toxic oxygen atmosphere, and a history of constant warfare." "And that," said Rixel, "is exactly why the Vorax should fear them." Another explosion rocked the chamber, closer this time. Through the viewport, they could see 3 Vorax battlecruisers moving into position for the final assault. "We die regardless," Rixel continued. "But with this, perhaps others might live." After a moment of silence, Neela nodded. "Activated." Rixel's tendrils manipulated the crude device. It hummed to life, broadcasting the simple message encoded to be understood by any technological civilization. "HLPUS. We are dying. Coordinate is below." The signal shot through space, aimed at a small blue-green planet that the Galactic Concord had isolated from interstellar community 2 centuries ago, not to protect the galaxy from Earth, but to protect Earth from the galaxy until humanity was ready. They were about to find out if Earth was ready now. Captain Elena Reyes stood at the window of the International Space Force Command Center in Houston, watching technicians rush between stations. At 43, she had spent most of her career preparing for a moment that most of her colleagues considered science fiction: first contact. Now, it appeared that moment had arrived, but not as anyone had expected. "Tell me again," she said to Dr. Sanjay Patel, the head of telecommunications. Patel adjusted his glasses. The signal was detected simultaneously by radio telescopes in 12 countries. "It's definitely artificial, and definitely not from Earth." The message was encoded in mathematical patterns, universal language, and contains what appears to be a distress call and stellar coordinates. "And we're certain about the translation?" Elena asked. "As certain as we can be. Help us. We are dying. There's no ambiguity." General Williams joined them, his face grave. "The Security Council has been in emergency session for 6 hours. Every major power has verified the signal independently." "Where exactly is it coming from?" Elena asked. "A star system in the Cygnus arm, approximately 340 light-years away," said Patel. "Far beyond our current reach with conventional propulsion." Elena raised an eyebrow. "Conventional propulsion?" Williams nodded. "That's why you're here, Captain. Project Prometheus." Elena felt her pulse quicken. Project Prometheus had been her obsession for the past 5 years, a theoretical faster-than-light drive based on warping space-time. It remained untested outside simulations. Prometheus is years from a working prototype, she said carefully. Not anymore, replied Williams, handing her a tablet. The President has authorized emergency protocols. Every nation with advanced space capability is pooling resources. Your drive is being fast-tracked. The tablet showed schematics for a vessel unlike anything humanity had built before. A warship. This isn't an exploration vessel, Elena noted. No, Williams agreed. The nature of the message suggests whoever sent it is under attack. We're not sending diplomats. We're sending a rescue mission. With untested technology to a location 340 light-years away, potentially into an interspecies conflict we know nothing about. Elena couldn't keep the incredulity from her voice. That's precisely why you're in command, Captain, Williams said. No one knows the Prometheus drive like you do, and your combat record in the African resource wars is unmatched. The Council is unanimous, Patel added. This is humanity's moment to step onto the galactic stage. Elena studied the vessel schematics again. What's her name? They're calling her the Defiance, Williams replied. She'll be the flagship of Earth's first interstellar fleet. Fleet? Elena looked up sharply. 7 vessels total. We're converting everything we have. Research ships, space station modules, even the Chinese lunar mining platforms. Everyone's contributing. How long until launch? She asked. 8 weeks for the Defiance. The others will follow as they're ready. Elena turned back to the window, watching the frantic activity below with new understanding. And the crew. The best Earth has to offer, Williams said. Every spacefaring nation is sending their elite. Even countries without space programs are contributing specialists. Doctors, engineers, linguists. Why us? Elena wondered aloud. Why would an alien species send a distress call to Earth specifically? We've barely left our own solar system. Dr. Patil cleared his throat. We've been broadcasting for nearly 2 centuries, Captain. Radio signals, television, internet transmissions. They've been radiating outward through space. Anyone listening would know we're here. And they'd know what we're capable of. Williams added grimly. Elena considered this. Humanity's history was written in conflict, innovation born of necessity, and relentless survival against all odds. If an alien civilization had been monitoring Earth's broadcasts, they would have witnessed humanity's capacity for both tremendous violence and remarkable compassion. So someone out there is in trouble, she said finally, and they think we're the right kind of people to help them. Williams nodded. The President's address to the United Nations included one line that's being repeated worldwide. When someone calls for help, you answer. Elena looked down at the schematics for the Defiance again. Then let's answer. The 8 weeks that followed saw the greatest unified effort in human history. Ancient rivalries were set aside as nations pooled their resources, knowledge, and personnel toward a single goal: reaching the stars to answer the alien distress call. The Prometheus drive exceeded all expectations in its trials, warping space-time in precisely the way Elena's equations had predicted. The Defiance took shape in Earth orbit, a massive vessel bristling with the best weapons technology humanity could devise, alongside extensive medical facilities and diplomatic quarters. Elena's crew was a microcosm of Earth itself. Russians and Americans working side by side in weapons control, Chinese and Indian engineers collaborating on propulsion systems, Brazilian doctors training alongside Japanese biologists on xenophysiology theory. Dr. Rashid Khan, the mission's chief xenobiologist, provided the most unsettling insight 3 days before launch. Based on the signal's molecular composition data, whoever sent this evolved in conditions dramatically different from Earth, he explained during the final briefing. Low gravity, minimal radiation, nitrogen-methane atmosphere. Their native environment would be paradise by galactic standards. And they're asking for help from us, asked Commander Jackson, Elena's second-in-command. That's what makes this interesting, Rashid replied. From their perspective, Earth would be classified as a death world, a planet so hostile that most galactic life couldn't survive there. High gravity, extreme temperature variations, deadly radiation levels, aggressive biodiversity, and an oxygen-rich atmosphere that would be toxic to many species. Elena understood the implication immediately. They're calling Deathworlders for help because whoever is attacking them has never faced anything like us before. Precisely, Rashid nodded. We evolved on a planet that tried to kill us every day for millions of years. That shaped us in ways that might make us uniquely qualified for this mission. The night before launch, Elena stood in the observation deck of the space station, looking down at the blue marble that was Earth. The Defiance floated nearby, its massive form reflecting sunlight as it orbited alongside the 6 other vessels of humanity's first interstellar fleet: Resolute, Guardian, Sentinel, Mercy, Vanguard, and Hope. Quite a view, said a voice behind her. Elena turned to find Dr. Paddle joining her at the viewport. I keep thinking about them, she said. Whoever sent that signal. By the time we arrive, it will have been over 2 months since they called for help. The Prometheus drive is a miracle, Pavel replied. Without it, we'd be talking about centuries of travel time, not months. If we arrive too late, Elena began. Then we'll do what humans have always done, Paddle said firmly. We'll adapt, we'll help whoever remains, and we'll hold accountable whoever caused this. Elena nodded, turning back to the viewport. Tomorrow, humanity would take its first step beyond the solar system, not as explorers or conquerors, but as rescuers answering a desperate call. For better or worse, she whispered to herself, the galaxy is about to meet humanity. Humanity unleashed. The 7 ships of Earth's fleet emerged from the distortion field of the Prometheus drive at the edge of the Sagrathi system. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the bridge of the Defiance, taking in the scene before them on the main view screen. My God, whispered Commander Jackson beside her. The space around them was a graveyard. Crystalline debris floated everywhere, glittering like diamond dust in the light of the system's blue star. Broken vessels, clearly of Sagrathi design, based on their elegant, translucent construction, drifted lifelessly. Among them moved predatory vessels of organic design, systematically firing upon the few intact Sagrathi ships still attempting to flee. Life signs, Elena demanded. Lieutenant Rodriguez at the sensor station worked feverishly, detecting approximately 2,700 life forms in the surviving Sagrathi vessels. Many show signs of biological distress. In the attacking ships, reading approximately 12,000 life forms of a different biological signature. Their largest vessel appears to be a command carrier, added Tactical Officer Chen, highlighting a massive organic-looking ship twice the size of the Defiance. It's coordinating the attack patterns. Elena made her decision. Battle stations. All ships form defensive perimeter around the surviving Sagrathi vessels. Priority is protecting the survivors. Throughout the Earth fleet, alarms sounded as crews rushed to their positions. Open a channel, Elena ordered. All frequencies and formats their technology might detect. Channel open, Captain. Elena straightened her uniform. This is Captain Elena Reyes of the Earth Defense Fleet. We are responding to a distress call from the Sagrathi Collective. Cease your attack and withdraw from this system immediately. For a long moment, there was no response. Then the view screen flickered, revealing an alien face. The creature had an exoskeletal carapace with multiple compound eyes and mandibles that clicked as it spoke. Its translation came through as a synthesized voice. Unknown vessels. This is War Captain Drazik of the Vorax Imperium. This conflict does not concern you. The Sagrathi resources have been claimed under Void Territories expansion decree. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed. Elena's expression remained calm. We received a call for help, and we're here to answer it. Stand down and withdraw from this system. The alien made a chittering sound that the translation system didn't interpret but seemed dismissive. You do not understand galactic law. The Sagrathi are weak and resource-rich. It is the natural order. The Vorax war captain leaned closer to whatever was capturing its image. "What are you?" "We have no record of your species or vessels." "We're humans," Alina replied simply. "From Earth." The reaction was immediate and unexpected. The Vorax's posture changed dramatically, its mandibles clicking rapidly. It barked orders in its native language to someone off-screen. "Earth," it finally said. "The quarantined world. Impossible." "Very possible," Alina answered. "And we don't recognize your Void Territory's expansion decree. We recognize a call for help from people being attacked. Last warning. Stand down." The Vorax war captain's voice rose to a high-pitched screech. "Deathworlders." The Sagrathi summoned Deathworlders. The communication cut off. "They're repositioning their fleet," reported Chen. "Several smaller vessels are retreating, but the majority are forming attack patterns. The command carrier is holding position at the rear." Elena nodded. "They've made their choice. All ships, engage and protect the Sagrathi vessels. Focus fire on weapon systems and engines. Disable rather than destroy if possible." Aboard the remaining Sagrathi flagship, Ambassador Neela watched in astonishment as the strange angular ships positioned themselves between the surviving Sagrathi vessels and the Vorax attackers. "What kind of ships are those?" asked Rixel, staring at the view screen. "I don't know," Neela admitted, "but they responded to our call." The Sagrathi ship's damaged sensors struggled to analyze the newcomers. The readings made no sense. The vessels contained environments that would be toxic to most galactic species, with radiation levels and atmospheric compositions that would kill a Sagrathi in minutes. "Ambassador," a technician called out, "the Vorax are broadcasting warnings on all channels. They're telling everyone to flee. They're saying these are Deathworlders." Neela felt a vibration of hope ripple through her crystalline body. "Earth," she whispered. "They actually came." The technician looked up in shock. "Earth? But that's a Class 12 death world. The Concord quarantined it centuries ago. No one was ever supposed to contact them." "We had no choice," Neela replied. "And now we'll see if the stories about them are true." On their view screen, they watched as the Vorax launched their first attack against the human fleet. The battle began with a Vorax energy barrage that would have shattered any Sagrathi ship. The human vessels absorbed the impacts against their shields, rocking but maintaining formation. "Shields at 72%, reported Lieutenant Chen on the Defiance. "Their energy weapons are powerful but diffuse." "Return fire," Alina ordered calmly. "Target their weapon systems and propulsion." The human ships responded with rail gunfire. Simple projectiles accelerated to incredible speeds, and focused laser bursts. The Vorax, accustomed to fighting the fragile Sagrathi, seemed shocked when the human weapons tore through their organic hulls. "Captain," came Commander Pierce's voice from the Guardian, "their ships have unusual structural vulnerabilities. They've never needed to defend against kinetic weapons. Our rail guns are cutting through them like paper." "Exploit that advantage," Alina responded. "All ships focus on engines and weapon systems. Force them to withdraw." The space around them lit up with weapons fire. 3 Vorax ships broke apart under the human assault, while others began to retreat. Their organic technology, no match for weapons designed by a species that had spent millennia perfecting the art of war against itself. "Look at their tactics," Dr. Patel observed from his station. "They're uncoordinated, each ship fighting individually." Elena nodded. "They've never faced an enemy that could actually fight back. They don't know how to adapt." The Vorax command carrier suddenly began launching smaller craft, hundreds of them. "Boarding vessels," Chen warned. "They're heading for both us and the Sagrathi ships." Elena's mind raced through the options. Deploy the Talons. From the Earth, ships launched smaller craft of their own. The Talon fighter squadrons, nimble vessels piloted by the best combat pilots from Earth's air forces. They moved to intercept the Vorax boarding craft with an agility that seemed to confuse the alien attackers. "This is Wolf Squadron," came the voice of Major Diana Santos, formerly of the Brazilian Air Force. Engaging boarding vessels now. The Talons tore through the Vorax boarding craft, their pilots executing maneuvers that would have crushed most alien physiology under the G-forces. The Vorax, evolved in lower gravity, couldn't match the human pilots' aggressive tactics. On the command carrier, War Captain Drozik watched in horror as the human vessels systematically dismantled his fleet. Impossible, he chittered to his officers. Their technology is primitive. Their ships use chemical propellants and basic projectile weapons. Sir, responded his second-in-command, they're evolved for high gravity. The acceleration forces that would kill us mean nothing to them. And their ships, they're built to withstand their Deathworld's conditions. Our weapons aren't designed to penetrate such reinforced hulls. Drozik realized with mounting dread that the Sagrathi had done something unthinkable. They had unleashed the quarantine species, a species that evolved in conditions so harsh that the rest of the galaxy had agreed to isolate them until they matured. All vessels, he ordered, target the human flagship with all remaining weapons. The command carrier and its remaining escort ships focused their fire on the Defiance. The human vessel shuddered under the concentrated assault. Shields failing, reported Chen. Hull breaches on decks 4 through 7. Emergency containment holding. Elena gripped her command chair. Target the command carrier's propulsion systems. Full weapons spread. The Defiance returned fire, joined by the Resolute and Vanguard. Their combined assault tore into the massive Vorax vessel, ripping apart its organic hull and exposing internal structures to the vacuum of space. Captain, Rodriguez called out, I'm detecting an energy buildup in the Vorax command carrier. It appears to be some kind of self-destruct sequence. Warn all ships to increase distance, Elena ordered. Extend shields to cover the nearest Sagrathi vessels if possible. The Vorax command carrier began to glow with unstable energy. Before it could detonate, however, a precision strike from the Sentinel severed the central power core, causing the energy to dissipate in a series of smaller, contained explosions. The remaining Vorax vessels are retreating, Chen reported with barely contained excitement. They're breaking formation and entering FTL. A cheer went up across the bridge, quickly silenced by Elena's raised hand. Casualties? She asked. 17 confirmed dead across the fleet, 43 injured, responded Dr. Nilsson, the chief medical officer. Most on the Resolute when they took that direct hit. Medical teams are responding. Elena nodded solemnly. And the Sagrathi? We've established contact with their flagship, said Communications Officer Park. They're requesting permission to dock for emergency assistance. Their life support systems are failing. Grant permission, Elena ordered. Prepare medical and engineering teams, but remind them the Sagrathi evolved in different conditions. We'll need to adapt our environments to their biology. As the remaining Sagrathi vessels limped toward the Earth fleet, Elena stood from her command chair. Send a message to Earth, she said. Inform them that we've engaged and defeated the hostile forces attacking the Sagrathi. The immediate threat has been neutralized, but the survivors need significant assistance. Request additional medical ships and supplies. Hours later, Elena stood in a specially modified conference room aboard the Defiance. The room's gravity had been reduced to 1/3 Earth normal, the temperature lowered significantly, and the atmosphere replaced with a nitrogen-methane mix that the Sagrathi could tolerate. Ambassador Neela floated before her, the Sagrathi's crystalline body glimmering with inner light that seemed stronger than when they had first been brought aboard. Through the translucent alien form, Elena could see the complex internal structures that gave the Sagrathi life. On behalf of the surviving collective, Neela's translator conveyed, I extend our deepest gratitude. Without your intervention, our species would have faced extinction. We answered your call, Elena replied simply. Any world would have done the same. Neela's body shimmered in what Elena had learned was the Sagrathi equivalent of a sad smile. No, Captain. Most worlds would not. The Galactic Concord abandoned us to our fate, declaring our territories legitimate expansion zones for the Vorax. Then perhaps the Concord needs to reconsider its policies, Alina said. They will have no choice now, Neela responded. Word is spreading through subspace communications channels. Earth has arrived on the galactic stage in a way no one expected, as defenders of the weak against the strong. That wasn't our intention, Alina said. We simply answered a call for help. And that, Captain Reyes, is precisely what makes humanity different. Your species evolved on a world that should have killed you. Instead of making you cruel, it made you resilient. Instead of making you selfish, it taught you the value of cooperation and protection. Alina considered this. The quarantine of Earth, it wasn't to protect the galaxy from us, was it? No, confirmed Neela. It was to protect you from the galaxy until you were ready. The Concord feared that premature contact might contaminate your natural development. Some argued that a species from such a harsh world would inevitably become conquerors. Others believed you needed time to mature beyond your internal conflicts. And now, Neela's light pulsed brightly. The galaxy will have to accept that the Deathworlders have arrived, not as conquerors, but as defenders. The implications will ripple across civilized space. Alina's communication device beeped. She checked it quickly. The Mercy has completed its first round of medical treatments for your people. Dr. Khan believes they've adapted procedures that will work with Sagrethi physiology. Another remarkable adaptation, Neela observed. Your doctors learned to treat an entirely alien biology in hours. That's what humans do, Alina said with a small smile. We adapt. As she left the conference room, returning to Earth normal conditions, Alina found Dr. Patel waiting for her. The Sagrethi data cores we recovered contain star charts for the entire known galaxy, he said excitedly. Over 3,000 inhabited star systems, dozens of spacefaring civilizations, and detailed records of the Galactic Concord's history and politics. And Earth? Alina asked. Classified as a Class 12 death world, officially quarantined 200 years ago after our radio transmissions were detected. The Concord has been monitoring us since then, debating when or if to make contact. Alina looked out a viewport at the Sagrethi vessels, now safely docked with the Earth ships. Engineer teams in environmental suits moved between them, making repairs. Well, she said, I suppose we forced their hand. What happens now, Captain? Patil asked. Alina considered the question. Humanity had taken its first step into a larger universe, not as explorers or conquerors, but as rescuers. They had announced their presence in the most human way possible, by answering a call for help. Now, she said, we finish what we started. We help the Sagrethi rebuild. We learn everything we can about this galactic concord, and we prepare for whatever comes next. And the Vorax? Patil asked. Alina's expression hardened slightly. We send a message. The next time they or anyone else attacks a peaceful species, they should remember that Earth is watching, and Earth answers when called. As the Earth fleet began the work of rescue and recovery, signals raced across subspace channels throughout the galaxy, carrying news that would shake the foundations of interstellar politics. The quarantined Deathworlders had arrived, and they had chosen their side. Not as conquerors, but as protectors. The age of humanity in the stars had begun.